The polling clearly was off.
I just think they're too unpredictable.
I do not trust it all.
The polls have been off for 2 presidential contests.
And then there's consideration of whether the polls are even right.
Here's a fun fact. Did you know public polling actually predicted 48 out of 50 states correctly in the last presidential election? No, of course you didn't, because all you hear is about how bad it is.
Why was the polling so off?
Same methodology that got it wrong in 2016.
The polling in New Jersey was really wrong.
Look, it has definitely gotten harder for the experts to survey America in these ultra-partisan times, and mistakes are definitely made. But I can tell you unequivocally that political polling is not as bad as people make it out to be, which is why it might be time to stop sharing it. And I'm not alone in suggesting that.
We have to really rethink what we're doing, what we're contributing to this, because it's just simply, I think, increasing the public mistrust.
Patrick Murray's the head of the Monmouth University Polling Institute, and November 2nd, 2021 was not a good day to be Patrick.
The final 2 polls I saw had Murphy ahead by 8 points in one, by 11 points in another.
It's going to be really tight, and that just means those polls were wrong.
In his words, he blew it on the New Jersey governor's race, totally missed how close the election would be, had a bad night. And while going 4 for 5 consistently in baseball makes you the greatest of all time, going 4 for 5 consistently in a polarized political climate just makes you a scapegoat.
If you're wrong 20% of the time, then there are media out there and that feed information to a significant chunk of the electorate to say the polls are wrong 100% of the time.
The biggest problem with polling in his mind isn't the science, but how we share it.
For example, when you see a political poll in the news, how often is that margin of error explained? Because those top line numbers are actually a range, since we can't poll every person in the country. And the pollster's confidence in that range isn't 100%, it's typically 95%, meaning they acknowledge 1 out of every 20 polls is going to be very wrong. But nobody's providing that excessive explanation. And news consumers rely too much on aggregation sites that often give you big polling headlines without all that polling context.
The media just really obsesses on that margin between candidate A and candidate B. And that is the least precise thing that polling ever does. The problem is that's the only thing that gets reported. And they take all this uncertainty out there and make it seem like there's more certainty by doing that.
When voters don't get proper context, every bad poll reduces their faith in the process even more, which makes them less likely to respond to polls in the future, which makes accurate polling even harder, which leads to more calls not to trust the polls. Political scientists can usually work around challenges like that, but when anti-establishment feelings are so closely aligned with a single political candidate, as they have been in recent years, they can really throw off results.
Now, if it's bad, I say it's fake. If it's good, I say that's the most accurate poll perhaps ever taken.
The truth is, most surveys are accurate, and they can provide us with a lot of really important information. What policies they want politicians to prioritize, how confident they are in the economy, what percentage are looking for employment at any given time. So then, what do we need to do differently? Murray's idea? Stop sharing presidential polls, which inspire some of the worst takes and criticisms, and instead, only share issues polling. My idea is to commit to excessive explanation every time we report a poll, because we either restore trust in polling or we cut it out of our news diet. I can quit anytime I want to. I just don't want to. We can do better.